It's going to be an amazing session because you guys are going to be running the session with us today. You learn some new tricks as well, and we've got a structure behind it. So we'll start with a little bit of inspiration from Kevin about the work that they're doing with the AI for Good Lab at Microsoft. Then we'll hear stories from IFC and ITC to inspire you, give you some ideas. Then we'll form 4 groups. Uh, I'll encourage you guys to get up. It's nice to move around and then come and pick up a sustainable development goal that appeals most to you. We selected 4. So SDG 4, quality education, 8, decent work and economic growth, 13, climate action, 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So start thinking, what do you care about most, and come and pick up that SDG. We've got enough numbers in there, so you might have to run if you really care about an SDG goal. So we then form 4 teams. We've got some tools and structures to share with you, including, of course, AI. Your facilitators will show you some tricks. We've already created a list of ideal prompts that will make you like a superstar as you think of solutions. Do I need a mic? Okay. All right. Should I restart? Okay. So, and then we'll come back and present the solutions as well, right? So that'll be the part where your team, so as for SDG 4, some people will come in and present their solution back, and we'll ideate. So if at the end of the day today, you have a few new ideas, right? You learn about some new tools, and then finally also network with people in your group, right? That'll be the most beautiful outcome for us. I'll walk you through this entire structure when I come back after the stories, but first let me introduce Kevin, who's going to come in and talk to us and inspire you with the AI for Good stories.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here with everybody. I usually start by asking questions on where everyone's from, but I think today I'm going to say, who's jet lagged? Anyone else? I'm jet lagged. And so please forgive me. I'm going to have a couple of notes here just so I don't forget. I don't even know what time it is, maybe in the middle of the night at home. But thanks everyone for coming. You have such a great team of people from Microsoft here to talk to you today about the innovative work that Microsoft is doing, different applications, and different ideas. And we hope to see those creative spirits come out of this workshop. I work in our AI for Good lab. I'm not sure who came up with the name first, if it was AI for Good IT or us, but we have the same name, but we all come from the same fabric and the same philosophy, which is how do we help use AI to have a better society and a better world? And how do we do that in a way that's responsible, ethical, and in a way that lifts everybody up and leaves no one behind? And so our team is a group of researchers. We span across 3 continents, South America, Africa, and North America. We focus on projects on using AI in an applied sense in scenarios like humanitarian response and resilience, climate change, sustainability, trust in technology. And really, our goal is to be a catalyst to help support the community and also to support you all in your endeavors and give you creative ideas. Just to give you a couple of examples on how we use AI, if you have a minute and go up to the UN, I think, booths, go stop by UNEP, environmental program, and you can see a project that we worked on with them to help them take the IPCC document and other authoritative scientific documents and put them in a chatbot form so that anyone can ask questions and get real, truthful answers that are grounded in scientific reality. We spend a bunch of time on satellite imagery and computer vision and how we use AI in that sense. Couple of examples there are mapping solar farms and wind farms worldwide so that we can have an accurate measurement of the growth of renewable energy. We know AI is not going to solve every problem because we're all collective AI professionals here, but we do know that there are times where AI can help. And in one of those cases, having an accurate, transparent measurement helps. And so understanding throughout the world, where do we see more solar farms and wind farms? I think that's important. We also know that there are cases now where AI might be the only option for us to help advance society. Let me give you one example. With the improvements in maternal health, we've got more premature babies that are being born, which is amazing. But there is a disease that comes with that. It's called retinopathy of prematurity. And that's where it's one of the leading causes of blindness in infants. And it's one of these cases that is completely preventable if a doctor can understand it's happening and intervene within 48 hours. And this wasn't, it's kind of a paradox because this was not a problem 20, 30 years ago, because unfortunately those babies were dying, but now they're being born. But there's not enough pediatric ophthalmologists in the world. There's only maybe 200,000 pediatric ophthalmologists. And so how do we sustain that? And so what we've done is using computer vision and AI, taken a smartphone and given this to rural community practitioners with a little just microscope, and they can take a picture of the eye and it can run it through an AI model, and it can determine whether there's a risk of this, and then they can decide to triage that patient and get it over to someone who can help quickly. Now, in many of these rural communities, that might be the only option to scale. And so I think as you think through AI, let's be creative and let's find those problems that we can advance the SDGs, but really help with some of the society's greatest problems. So anyways, I'm glad to see everybody here, and I hope we see a readout later of some amazing ideas, and at Microsoft, and especially with the AI for Good team, we're here to help. So thanks, everyone.
Very inspirational, and often like the ideas that you come up with today with this structured process we'll follow, one of the next steps could be like a MVP or a proof of concept with the AI for Good lab. So just keep that in your mind. So next up, to inspire us further from IFC, we've got Atiyah, who's going to talk about their story of how they used AI. I can move your slides if you want to move.
Morning, everyone. Very nice to be here, and thanks very much to Microsoft. Sit here so I can see the screen. But I want us to get started by asking everyone in the room to imagine you're an investment analyst. It's 4 p.m, and you've just received an email from your colleague saying that they have to take a project to the investment committee next week. They're so sorry for the short time frame, but is there any way you can do a quick review of all the publicly available information you can find about this company to make sure that there are no red flags? And in fact, they even have some of this information handy, like the most recent annual report that they can send over, if that will help. You say, yes, you'll do your best to make it happen. You open the email they send you with a 700-page attachment. I don't know if this happens to you, but this happens to me and my colleagues frequently. My name is Atiyah Curmally, and I work alongside 200 experts who cover topics like climate change, biodiversity, corporate governance at the International Finance Corporation. The International Finance Corporation is a member of the World Bank Group. We're the world's largest development finance institution focused on the private sector in emerging markets. This past year, we invested almost $44 billion in companies in emerging markets. And when making investments, we look carefully at the sustainability impact of a company's business. We consider a multitude of issues like their track record for worker safety, methods of pollution prevention, or approach to engaging stakeholders, and helping companies with meeting their financial development impact and sustainability goals continues while they're in our portfolio. But let's not forget about our investment analyst, who is beginning on page 1 of that 7-page document, because this is what you need to do as an analyst to deliver this type of investment strategy. So on average, analysts have to review between 10 to 20 documents a week, often hundreds of pages in length, and frequently filled with technical jargon that requires subject matter expertise to understand. And in other words, the amount of information you have to review can be vast, and often you only have a few days, and on one recent occasion, hours, in which to make this happen. But now imagine you have a colleague who never gets tired, never sleeps, and can read 19,000 sentences a minute. Meet Melena. Melena is an artificial intelligence-powered analyst. And IFC created Melena to help us all understand environment, social, and governance, or ESG, data for emerging markets. And at the press of a button, Melena is able to unlock curated insights from thousands of lengthy documents, PDFs, tables, running into hundreds of pages, and disregards non-essential information and helps you focus on what matters. Melena does this by using natural language processing to rapidly review information. And Melena has been trained by IFC to recognize more than 1,000 climate, gender, and environment, social, and governance terms. It organizes documents by different sustainability frameworks and has helped reduce the amount of time it takes to review information from weeks to days to even hours. Melena makes findings available in easy-to-read dashboards. It's such as this example here for a Brazilian transportation infrastructure and logistics company called Ecorodovias. And using this, you'll see up here, we've used Melena to review 10 documents running into hundreds of pages. And what Melena allows you to do is filter information in different ways. This slide here shows you all the negative mentions of the word flooding. Why does this matter? It matters if you're a transportation company and you're building climate resilient infrastructure. And it matters if you're an investor and care about investing in this company. You want to know what the company is doing about things like climate change. Not only does Melena identify all the negative mentions, it also actually, to Kevin's point about grounding, takes you back to show you where in the original document this information was found. So in this instance, you can go back to page 110, the company's sustainability report from 2019, and find text that talks about the impact of flooding on the company's customers' health and safety. And so you see that in minutes, Melena allows you to make informed decisions quickly, but with confidence. Earlier this year, we made Melena available for free for anyone to use as a global public good. Why? Because we want investors to invest their capital in emerging markets where development needs are the greatest. IFC believes this is crucial for us to create a world free from poverty on a livable planet. But for investors to act, they need high quality sustainability and impact data. And however, most commercial ESG data providers provide data that favors developed markets. And so emerging market investors have to work twice as hard to get to what they need and have a vast amount of information to review to make sure that they are investing in sustainable ways with impact. We want Melena to address these challenges, and not just for investors, but also for regulators, exchanges, capital market authorities, banks, and data providers. By using AI, Melena revolutionizes ESG analysis for all these users to get to information and to make decisions and identify solutions with speed and at scale. I think the most important piece I can share with you today is how we used data and AI to build Melena. We were able to successfully scale what started as a proof of concept in 2019. And this proof of concept helped us realize that institutions like ours, big lumbering bureaucracies, are actually pretty great laboratories for building specialized versions of applications like Melena, because we have what these applications love, and the reason we're all here today, which is data. Over the past 4 years, we have used documents going back to 2001 to create 170,000 examples of training data to teach Melena the meaning of terms like climate change, biodiversity action plan, board composition. And this has allowed us to accelerate the development of machine learning solutions on these custom data sets. The other big benefit that we saw was bringing on board in-house data science expertise and skill sets. We were one of the first teams in IFC to hire data scientists. These colleagues sit within an innovation and data science work stream within our sustainability risk and operations teams. And our team comprises experts from diverse backgrounds, environment, social, and governance specialists, data scientists, but also data and cloud engineers, UX designers, React developers, Power BI developers, Scrum masters, and testers. The current Melena technology stack is Azure-oriented, and we have chosen it for scalability, performance, and security. This ranges from using Azure Data Factory for ETL processes, to Azure Data Lake for storage, to Azure App for hosting. And so by leveraging faster data processing, coupled with GPU compute that scales on demand, offered by Azure Databricks, we have been successfully able to design, train, and run large language models to analyze massive amounts of data, thanks to Microsoft Azure. As of today, the internal version of Melena has read more than 250,000 documents and generated profiles for 20,000 companies in 186 countries in 26 sectors. Most importantly, we built Melena to be underpinned by a responsible AI framework that covers data and model governance, and we're transparent about model performance. We find all these statistics on our website in a number of areas, including performance, confidence, drift, robustness, and explainability. We think it's really important that users understand how AI models make predictions and how they should interpret results. This framework is aligned with other AI principles, including Microsoft's. But before concluding, the most important message, though, that I want to leave everyone with is that Melena is so much more than a technological advancement. It's actually a catalyst for sustainable investments of potentially $5 trillion. That's the funding gap estimated to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And if we can move a small portion of the $200 trillion that are already invested in capital markets, we can play a crucial role in closing this gap. ESG information and data will be key to making informed investment decisions to address development challenges. And we believe Melena can make this happen. Because Melena can sift through thousands of pages of information to get us started in less time than it's taken me to tell you about it. Thank you very much again, and really looking forward to thinking about how you folks will creatively harness AI to also address the SDGs. Thanks very much.
Oh, that was really, really good. And I love the fact that you guys have also opened it up to the public via the web interface. So I was trying to memorize, was it melena.ifc.org?
Yes, it's melena.ifc.org. And Aditi, my colleague Aditi and I are here. Please let us know if anyone has any questions. We're more than happy to set people up profiles.
Perfect.
Thank
Without further ado, we've got James. Yeah,
Just follows on.
Just follows on. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you. Right. So we'll thank you. Lovely story. I enjoyed that. We will follow on with another little story, slightly shorter. And we'll tell you about a project that we worked on together with Microsoft and local partners in Nigeria, which we baptized IDEAs. Just a quick word introduction to who I am. I lead a team at ITC. ITC is a UN agency which focuses on trade development. And I'll stop there about that. My team focuses on areas to do with digital markets connectivity. What that means in practice is about e-commerce. If you're interested in that, I'll explain more after this. Let me tell you about my ideas. I'm going to start a clock. Just going to make sure that it's time. IDEAs is sponsored by the Japanese government, and as I said, is addressing a community of digitally less literate population in a particular area of Nigeria. Now, as is obvious and has been introduced, there are big hopes for what digital and indeed AI can do to turbocharge achievements of the SDGs. So this is another aspect, complementary. approach that we're looking at how we can train, how we can capacitate different kinds of producers to make them more effective and access market opportunities. In this particular case, what we wanted to address was a community of digitally less savvy users in a particular area of Nigeria. That's to say, Imo State. Now, Nigeria itself is Africa's most populous country, and it's estimated to have around 40 million SMEs, who represents about 80% of the employment in the country. So a big impact on the economy, employment, and well-being. Many of them are not particularly digitally savvy, despite Nigeria having a relatively good ecosystem for this in Africa. So our project poses this question: how can we bring some of those skills and capabilities? Now, this is just a reminder that we're talking about the real world, not obviously a digital environment. On the left, we have an example of one of the companies we're working with, a poultry producer, and on the right, those are dates, which are being dried to make syrup. And we can see this environment with very basic equipment for the chickens, or even a homemade little drying oven. So, what is the relevance? What is the relevance here? We can see in sophisticated analytical environments, the usage case seems to be clear. What could be the usage case here? Well, we believe there's an opportunity for them to connect to markets. That's not particularly new. And in fact, that e-commerce has opened up new possibilities that they are not particularly accessing. So very simply, what can we do? Well, we can partner with local tech companies, and in fact, Microsoft. A special mention here to Microsoft Philanthropies and the work that we've been doing together. Point out Natalia in my team under the Ideas project. So what we've done is training. I mean, taking a group of these farmers and giving them relatively classic stuff, although it's very new to them, on things like cybersecurity, cloud-based tools, and we're introducing them to a world which is completely unknown to them and quite advanced from where they start with. I should mention the kind of local support that we have through Microsoft partners, in particular Whoop Lab and Data Science Nigeria, on training on these tools. So to say the ultimate objective is to empower them and lift them up to access some of the possibilities of digital trade from quite a relatively low base. So the impacts of this kind of thing, you can see this is some of the outputs. Now, this is very recent. It's something that we've been working on in the last few months, by the way. And you see this is an output from one of these a local producer, a honey producer. And she's able to generate texts. She's able to generate images, which are directly useful to her. And again, with the skilling that we can give her on the use of social media and other business skills, she can be immediately active in a way that she was not empowered to do so before. So this has created a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. They love this. They're being taken from a quite low level to a high level very, very quickly. And of course, it's generated a lot of enthusiasm for what that can do for them with free access. So we see a lot of inquiries from marketplaces, local marketplaces, which are maybe not the sophistication of Amazon and its like. There are local listings platforms. There are lots of sales that happen through social media, and they are empowered by these tools to answer in a way that's customer friendly and marketing oriented. It's the kind of learning that we want to build on, that suite of tools, using AI as a learning device, using AI to speed them up. And we're looking for other applications. We have an immediate wider application in Nigeria, but we're looking beyond Nigeria to other African countries and beyond. So with that, I will stop as a short story. Thank you, and thank Microsoft for their partnership.
Thank you so much. Again, very inspiring story. And I see some beautifully AI generated images potentially. As well. Great. So I think 30 minutes into the presentation, so I just remember I forgot to introduce myself. I'm an architect in the Tech for Social Impact team at Microsoft. So what we're going to do today, now let me just see if I can get these things out of the way. Right. There we go. I should have done that before. So we've taken a framework from Microsoft around helping you pick up, what we saw just now, right? Three big things. You saw acceleration with AI, you saw governance, you saw skilling, right? You saw these three elements. How can you take it forward for building your own AI solutions? So at Microsoft, as we've been, my colleagues here can attest, we've been really busy with customers wanting lots and lots of solutions. So we've got a framework around this. We call this the BXT framework. And normally we spend about 1 to 2 days on this, but we're going to do it in 60 minutes today. It'll be a little bit chaotic, but you'll walk out with some, tools that you can utilize. What you're going to do, you saw some inspiring ideas and stories just now. You're going to come in and pick up a sustainable development goal that appeals to you from here, and then, find your corners. We've got people from Microsoft who'll be facilitating. Maybe I'll just ask them to raise their hands once. So Martin over there, Stephen right at the back, Kate over here, and Tirzah is probably solving some problems outside the day. That's Tirzah, right? So all of them will guide you through that process. You'll each first come up with like 3 or 4 ideas in every group. You could do it individually if you're a lone warrior, preferably join with 2 or 3 other people, and then come together as a team and select an idea. For that idea, then you'll go in deeper and we'll show you the process. What are the things that you need to think about, like skilling, governance? Are the users actually going to use this? What's the time to the specific sustainable development goal? How are you going to measure this, right? So we'll walk you through a process around that. And then I'm going to go around with a sort of timer thing. I'll go around, you'll hear it. I have these special African bells. So I'll tell you now is the time to start preparing for your final presentation. Then you'll come back and present your idea back to the rest of the room. And hopefully, it inspires other people to have some ideas. At the same time, you might get some great feedback as well if this is something you're going to go and take back. So for those of you who walked in a little bit late, the 3 things that, from this particular session that we want you to go back with. Number 1 is inspire around ideas. Number 2, around tools that you can use using AI-based tools. And number 3, I want you to know everyone in your team, right? If you don't finish any of the sheets, that's okay. But at least exchange LinkedIn contact information with 2 people in your group, right? Come in, leave these conferences, and then we have not expanded our network, right? So that's a little bit sad. So this is the process that we're going to follow for our presentation. So this is the end in mind. If there's one important thing I want you to remember, this is what each sustainable development goal needs to present back. After that, I'll give you lots of options and you choose that. This works for me, this doesn't work for me. You got to describe the who, what, why of your AI solution for your sustainable development goal. What's the business need for this? What's the experience? Are people actually going to use this solution? Or is this just something that you think is cool? What's the technical feasibility? So that's where the Microsoft folks will help guide you through that. And you can just reach out to, if you've got a question, reach out. I'll be floating around the rooms as well. And then finally, there'll be, if you have enough time, we'll have at least 1 or 2 minutes to get feedback on your idea. All right, so with that in mind, the first step that we're going to follow is the who, what, why, right? So for the who, what, why, we've got a couple of examples for you. I have all of these on a short URL, aka.ms/5 elements. You'll see it on the slides. I'll give you just a sneak peek of that now. It's an article wherein we walk you through how you go about getting answers to each of these questions using something like Copilot, right? So it's aka.ms/5 elements. I'll have the link for you up all along. And in this, we've kept a few prompts in there, right? So if I go back to my slide, and this is where the question is, who wants to do ideal state, but must cannot do due to this, resulting in this. So let's say Brit wants to solve the problem that, not enough women are getting educated in East Africa due to less resources there, resulting in less women being educated, right? And then takes it further. This is causing this undesirable effect for who? How might we use AI so we can provide benefits? So how might we use AI to scale up the education opportunities so we can increase the number of women who are getting educated in these countries? So you would think about this, and you guys have great brains in there. But the Copilot, what we have in here is like we've got I like to think of it like an unpaid intern from McKinsey, right? I wouldn't trust everything that he tells me, but then sometimes it makes me think, or she makes me think about things that which I might not think of, right? So these prompts will guide you through it. We've got a little bit of an internal competition going on the phone, SDGs with the Microsoft folks. Everyone has their favorite prompts in there, so they'll guide you through this. And then feel free to just go to copilot.microsoft.com and just copy these prompts in there. So explain how this AI solution can contribute to the strategic goals, detail the business value. So you can just ask these sort of questions and Copilot remembers your context in terms of providing all of this. I have like this mega superhero prompt in here as well, which goes in and answers all of the questions that we want you to answer for the business case, and also looks up the UN Sustainable Development Goal progress reports. It looks up other industry-specific reports that are available publicly and ties and checks your AI idea and business case against them, right? So first step, you come up with individual ideas, right? I have some examples in there. There's some sheets over there. So when you pick up what is this? Sustainable. Oh, you are holding that. Okay, cool. So when you pick up the Sustainable Development Goals, you can pick up one of these sheets around filling out some ideas. Again, use Copilot as you go along with this. So when you think about the business viability, you start to think about what is the chance that this will be financially viable or not viable, right? How much does this align over to the specific sustainable development goal, to your organization's individual objective as well. The same thing you do for experience. What are the chances that this is a desirable concept? What are the chances that people would want to use this every day? Like Melena, I can see it, right? Like instead of opening up that 300-page document, people would want to use it every single day. Is your AI idea doing that? And finally, from a technology perspective, so this is where, do you have the right data behind it? Is the data inclusive enough? Do you have the guardrails in place? Can this be used ineffectively, right? So thinking about some of these examples, and finally, how are you going to skill people around using this technology? So with that, so now as a team, you will have selected one idea, which you democratically, 10 people, don't get attached to your own individual idea. Pick the idea which you think will probably have the highest impact. And then for that idea, you start to describe what are the key results? Who are the stakeholders we are going to serve? And then for the three topics that we discussed earlier, the business viability, the experience value, the technical value, you go around, okay, when will this get deployed? What could be the resistance? Most often it's also like, how do you make sure that a tool that has been built will get adopted? What will be the resistance that you face behind this, whether it's regulatory, whether it's change management? And then what is the fit of AI for this as well, right? Some problems actually might not require that. They might just require skilling around it. So thinking through that as well. I have an example in here for you. So your facilitators will have this example. So this is for sustainability specific example for supply chain sustainability. You can just read through these later on as a team if you want to. I encourage you more to maybe use the AI tools behind this. And with that, yeah, so this is where ak.ms/5 elements, you can go in and look up the prompts that you can utilize. And with that, a little bit chaos for 5 minutes, right? So we're going to go and pick up a sustainable development goal. Perfect. Okay. So SDG 4 over there. So who's SDG 4 from Microsoft?
SDG 4 is quality education.
Okay, so can you stand there, Kate? Yeah. So everybody who's into quality education, go close to Kate, probably the first 10 people in. Okay, the next one is,
Number 8, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth.
who's that?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so Martin, if you can come stand in this corner. So decent work and economic growth with Martin. And then the next one,
13.
There you go, Manish.
13, climate change. Okay, and peace and justice. So climate change.
No, I'm actually like completely behind you.
So peace and justice with Tirzah in that corner, and then climate change with Stephen in that corner.
So, 16.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Racial justice.
Yay!
That's right. With that, yeah. Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's right.
This is a good example. Thank you. Still choosing, okay. But you can do work.
So I think we should just.
And I will do-
I think we've talked.
But maybe
Maybe it's all about.
Right. Good job, let's show. Can you show me how? Yeah. So it actually worked. I can get sure.
They're just gonna get under full punch.
I ordered this stuff, so I can upload
Here you
it.
go.
I did.
Oh, yeah. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But I made my chocolate so it's
Should be a good idea.
So we got quality education.
Later on, like, my digest.
It's amazing. I'm so glad that I'm here.
You should just over there.
Okay, so we need. We need.
What do you?
Two main things about.
What is it?
Yeah, do you want? Right. I actually have, I wrote it out. And I have my thing that we can use because I started at 30, right? Yeah. For the UN standpoint, AI, so. Also, prompt engineering. That would be my goal. But let's open up. I did exercise already. So, but it says add down as well. It is.
Yeah.
Of course. I was just saying, I'm so impressed that you're here with your baby. Like something that I would definitely do, and my poor girl's coming later today to go. Okay, so little SDGs is to provide recommendations to establish a framework for safety in accordance with the IEA safety standard regulations. No, that's not right. This is not right. Sorry.
Just like how
Not right.
speaking snares, I think of like
Sorry.
ideas around
Sorry.
My friends with sounds like.
That's right. Right, not right, yeah, so that's good.
So.
That's right, so the aim is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development provide access to justice for all, build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions that all love us. There's a bunch of indicators, there's a bunch of to try to move it. But really it's all about building growth. Institutions that are trusted by the population and by maybe two and providing access.
It's okay, we have to.
So with that, I think trying to solve AI in the context of the viewers. We do have this framework. So I kind of did this framework. I actually asked the co-pilot to spell it up. But why build a study for me? And it showed one actually liked it, but it's on my computer and I have my phone. So, but I also really so I think with that, what anyone have any ideas if they wanted
Yeah, idea one.
Your challenge.
Back to the answer.
to
I mean, because. You've got 9. Nice. Okay, good. Oh, no, I don't have a particular.
yeah, so standing around is kind of not the.
Climate based.
You
Okay, so guys, these are my irritating timer. So in the next 5 minutes, you should have selected an idea as a team. Accelerating.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
There is another one.
But in the investing
This is really interesting. You can have like bunch of so it's like your friend can have somebody
in a negative.
yeah, getting back to
That's actually started off.
I'd be stealing a job. We have an
Yeah, I just arrived. So yeah, I have almost struck like
No, actually cannot. Very that way.
And have access to training.
It's 11:20 in this mark. 11:20.
Oh, no. We got
so. All right, let's go. Here we go.
Just a quick time check-in. I know you guys are so much into the flow state. I hate interrupting you. But in 20 minutes, we're going to start the presentations back, right? In 20 minutes, the teams are going to present back. So at this point, you should be thinking through your idea. And you're going to be presenting back on these 4 topics, right?
It is.
I love it. I love it. If from each group, there's 4 people talking about each of these topics, right? Okay, you got 20 minutes.
So that's all discussions, judge, assistant. You're on. Yeah.
Yes.
I would just add. Basic patterns. But actually, maybe comparisons.
Then we're gonna look at one of those. Yes.
Use AI to be, with watchdogs.
Go ahead. You need to pick one. So I guess we had the national one.
That was
Great
short,
idea.
but great idea.
Yeah, that's what, so that is actually, a localized chatbot is what. makes it, So. localized AI is. Some startups in the US that are doing this, but you have to pay for it, right? Like it's kind of level AI chat, legal AI chatbot. Yeah, this that helps you through the legal process of country. It really helps with the justice.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's great.
I think it's a good point. I mean, BSF has committed to actually.
So much. That's a great idea.
Yes.
So yeah.
The case where they. They might have extremely expensive houses. So. There's a lot of.
Yes, I mean,
I still will have that are actually much. And there's.
Come on, I have to.
Yeah, okay, so now we have to go through those really quickly and vote on what we're gonna.
So.
They were all great.
Yeah. So I would be with the climate action. Trash hour. Trash time. I feel like we got my chance here. I'm gonna stop. Okay. I think we all think of yeah. Not true. So I will consider that. No, so I perfect. It was not sad. Yeah. Marketing up, right? Maybe you have a better idea. So they can get the problem solved. So I think we have a. So. Something like this. And so thank you very much.
Summarization. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We have to call it out.
Light speed is like a relation building. That's right.
So they don't have. Yes, we need to build this out. We need to allow. Okay, so we need, this is like an example. Of what we have to fill out one, just what, but can't. resulted that intentions. So the example here. Would this Yeah, so maybe just adjust that system once to understand regulations. Read my writing. Yeah, you make. So, yeah, he's working on that.
I like
But that's quite true.
have like a code of conduct. So you're just like the actual line is 9 minutes. Looks like already. Since 5 minutes.
That's great.
Then back in half.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just. I see, yeah, exactly. I didn't get it right away, but now I.
Exactly. They don't have
Oh, sorry. It's nice to meet you. Are you on? Yes. Okay.
Okay, so,
I can take it.
It's gonna be the That's
Semantic search.
throwing it out there.
That has nothing to do with. Oh, sorry. No.
Addressing.
Yeah. Correct.
Sorry to disturb your flow state again, but in 4 minutes, we're going to start the presentations back. In 4 minutes, first will be SDG for quality education.
We have 4 minutes left. They have right now. The justice system wants access regulations laws. Impacting people who are in the justice system, stuck in jail. in prison.
Ladies and gentlemen, the center stage of the AI for Good Summit has started again. Please go to room B or room A if you have a leader's pass to check out the next round of keynote presentations on the center stage of the AI for Good Global Summit. Thank you.
To assist.
Not so high level and. My phone, a dipple. You're betting that's.
Yes, basically, your choice. This is like, in practice, somebody's very friendly, you do it, and then when you see them, like. So it suggested a little Italian place in France, to get us outside.
Just to get everybody out of coffee.
Okay, so now we need. What are our KPIs? And I think that's time from them. And is all getting. Yes, it's not.
There's 75.
Hello, welcome back, guys. So, can I please have your attention? Okay, guys, we will be kicked out of this room in 22 minutes. So at this point, we need to start our presentations. We'll go 4, 8, 13, 16, right? We'll go in order. We'll be recording your presentations, and we will use AI later on to give you the next best actions for your tool, right? So just go to the same URL, ak.ms, 5 elements. We'll post about it later. With that, team number 4, quality education. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Great. Okay, can you guys please give them your attention?
Yeah, okay. So, hi, everyone. So we're presenting you here with our new solution. So we're targeting children in developing countries based in rural regions from 4 to 12 years old. The what is a school dropout predictor tool that's allowing to catch at-risk students early on and to provide personalized education plans to address the issue. Why did we decide to go with this idea? The root cause is mainly because today families in these rural regions are needing their children to help for household work or have them work and earn revenue even at 10 years old. And why are we doing that? Is to provide equal opportunity, social inclusion, and psychological resilience through those personalized educational plans. Thank you.
Could you say your name and your organization?
Yes, so sorry about that. My name is Neila Belmachi. I'm here for Philanthropy Advisors, which is a consulting firm based between Geneva and Paris. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Salman Bouardi. I'm from Saudi Arabia. Now, regarding quality of education, when we talk about the business impact assessment, first, how does the use case align to the organization executive strategy? When we thought about the organization or what are the entities that are interested, mainly it's going to be the Ministry of Education, as well as other human rights, children rights organizations. And what we would like is to have the KPIs related to this use case aligned with the strategy of the Ministry of Education. So we thought about what are the strategic KPIs. We would care about the increasing the number of educated children in rural areas. And we also would like to increase the training capacity and for teachers as well as for psychologists. And we thought about how use case generates business value. It's by reducing also costs and increasing the personalized education of students. And for the business change management timeframe, we thought about 2 iterations for 2 semesters in order to really test the whole process. So we thought about 6 months to 1 year. And for the business impact, of course, it's 5 because it has high impact on society. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alexander Sanseveri. I do human-computer interaction research, and with respect to our project and idea, the first step is determining, okay, how are we identifying whether these children are going to drop out or not? So we have a pre-existing model that has been already curated that is a tree decision classifier that uses demographic data relating to the familial circumstances, such as number of sisters, financial status, and many other metrics. But once we've identified these children, like what are the next steps? What do we need to do? We have to have a solution to address the problems that are created. And this, the next steps involve in creating a path that is suitable for the profile of each and every student. So you're individualizing and curating a specialized route for them to follow. That way, they're fulfilling multiple different metrics. And we've identified some that we think are most important, but given we've only had 15 minutes to plan, it's a little difficult. We want to focus on psychosocial well-being, emphasis and on creating a path that allows the children to explore novel experiences, as this provides for fulfillment in child development during such a critical period. On the economy, since there are economical problems that stem from this, so thinking more in the long term, and to encourage critical thinking in relation to the familial values that are stemming and causing the rise of these dropout rates. And how are we determining the path? Well, the hope is with AI, hence that's why we're here. And we hope to use a machine learning model that lays out multiple options of paths that suit the profile of the child with confidence levels, which match the profile and use different metrics. And obviously, the model would be continuously learning.
Great, thank you. It's beautiful bonus points for all of you guys to also come up and speak. And they've set a really high bar. I was not expecting this quality, by the way. As I said, this is a one-day workshop, but in 20 minutes, you guys came up with such thought about the specific, 4 to 12-year-old. You're going to test it out in 2 months. That was beautiful. Okay, number 8, quality economic growth. A little bit of pressure, Martin.
Thank you. So my name is Martin, and I'm working for Microsoft, and we do this together with Eric, the ISF. And yeah, we focused on SDG number 8, and we had a very diverse group, many different ideas. Of course, the focus was in towards helping SMB smaller companies to become to create jobs and a vibrant labor market. And Eric presented a very nice, came up with a very nice idea, which I want him to explain now.
Yeah, no. So I work with BSF in procurement, strategic procurement, but I work with the sites in the Nordic market. So BSF is obviously a huge conglomerate with hundreds of companies. Main areas in Ludwigshafen, 75 companies there, 40, 50,000 employees, but we have another 65,000, 70,000 around the world. So in these small cities around the world, we have companies producing vitamins, pharmaceuticals, chemical, whatever. And some of these cities are maybe only 3,000 people, 6,000 people. We need them to be operational, to be maintained, and we need them to be world-class. We struggle to find small local companies with qualified people that can help us with all this maintenance. Typically, just to give an example, in Finland, we have a site in a very small area, which is only, I think, a couple of thousand people. When we contact the supplier, let's say a pump or a valve for like KSB, one of these big companies, they may say, oh, we have no engineer available right now, but we have to send somebody from Germany. We have to pay them to travel. We have to pay them to come there. And there might be a 1-hour job. So we have obviously tried to find and identify and train local people. And in this case, we found a guy was really more like a janitor, He grew up like mechanical things. And he had no education, but he learned how to fix almost everything. So a guy like him is invaluable for a company like us. He will be able to fix almost everything from every manufacturer. And now with internet, he's even able to find the spare parts he might need, right? So he's just been self-trained. And we trust him because we have seen that he can do what we need. And we have vetted him and we have qualified him. We are looking for those kind of people around the world because in that case, we save a lot of money and we also help grow the job market locally. I mean, just to give an example, a lot of these companies could charge 7-8 hours at 200 euros for the travel, but the job takes 1 hour for 200 euros. If we could find local good people and help them, train them and help these local companies, there is a win-win for all the society. There's going to create a lot of jobs and it's going to reduce the cost. Yeah. So this is what I want AI to help.
Yeah, so this comes then down to an
Kind of a supplier
challenge
Yeah.
about identifying those companies, those individuals.
Yeah, these small companies.
It's about job matching, skill matching, and there should be a way how AI can be applied in this. And this is kind of where we then stop because this took us already 20 minutes. And that's it for now.
But personalizing the story was a great idea there as well. Thank you for that. Okay, 13, climate action, coming right to the forefront. So I should warn you 1 minute before I will maybe ring the bell.
because we've got exactly 10 minutes.
Educational team climate action. So the who that we thought of was basically government, local communities. The idea basically being that, you know, trash is exported from developed countries to developing countries. You have large landfills, obviously emissions coming out of that. So the AI piece would be satellites being able to predict where there are methane emissions and then what you can do with that data. So you can basically either send portable generation units, something to basically channelize that energy, or you could consolidate that energy, connect it to the local grid. So that's really the idea, and I'll pass it on to the originator of the idea to expound on it more.
This idea has come out of this workshop, so we don't have a great deal of research and development behind it. But the idea is that, so we understand there's NASA and organizations like that looking at satellite data and can detect excess methane emissions. As a result of developed countries exporting their waste problems. Then, depending on the scale of the problem, we could support that with local generation tools, or maybe look at balanced energy grid solutions in to get local communities to be able to get power and money from this problem. In terms of undesirable outcomes from this, we could be making the problem worse by getting methane emissions actually triggering to attract resources. So there's a balance there between trying to find a solution but trying to not make the issue worse. That's about as much as we got through to.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of scalability, we're discussing, you know, is this something anyone's doing for money? Which it's not. It's really a best-in-class scenario where if you can pull off something like this, where, you know, you use satellite images to effectively clean up that methane, then that's something that can be replicated, you know, across governments.
Could you guys introduce yourself?
Oh. I'm Aditi. I'm with the Melena team from the IFC.
I'm Tim Plaisted. I work for a renewable energy project, and I used to work for Howe.
Thank you, Nadia. And then maybe the last thing can already start to come forward. Very excited. And so, yeah, we'll try and suggest some POC plus next steps for all of these ideas. Use AI to generate all of that, and we'll post it online. So follow up for that. Thank you. Here you go.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Jirek Klic. Just to quickly introduce myself, I'm working as a geospatial data engineer consultant, but if I can name drop one company, it's actually an NGO called Map Action, for which I'm usually volunteering. If you can find them online, mapaction.org. They are one thing like brilliant at saving lives, but absolutely terrible at self-promotion. So that's why I thought like to do them a little bit of justice. So as you can see, we have a really strong team. So we are representing the SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So I will just give you like a quick pitch, and then I have my colleagues, which will go into more detail. So we decided that justice, and I will just read out if you don't mind, because this is this was the team effort, and this is what we came up with. So justice system wants to regulations law of peace because you know, like to be more accurate and to be more, you know, like concise, because there is too much information to sift through, and that can delay the entire process, especially for people who are involved in that judiciary system. So we are hoping to come up with the AI solution, which would help, you know, like to the exact terms. And I will have my technical colleagues to elaborate. To assist the legal system processing cases in timely and ethical manner. And that was really exciting, especially finding the grounding and ethical code of conduct. If you looked into this field a little bit more, I do appreciate that there is loads of previous cases that would be like an early warning to using AI for such a generalization. especially if you read the books like Weapons of Mass Destruction or Escape from Modelland, how AI models can be actually quite dangerous in this field. However, my technical colleagues will explain how we can ground this information in actual factual data, and also, like having a grounding in code of conduct. So please. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Asma. I am an ex-tech worker who actually started her nonprofit, but I come representing a grassroots movement that wants more justice and representation of marginalized communities in the tech. And so if you want to check my work, it's ethicalaialliance.org. I'd love to connect with you all. So today I'm gonna, so when we said we're tackling justice, we literally decided to tackle the justice system and looked at how we could use AI to help us optimize and streamline processes. And obviously, like you said, there's my colleague said there are big risks in this, but I actually I have my notes. But obviously, when we say we're building this, we are going to build this with an inclusive and basically a team that is very representing all parts of society. So from that aspect, I think that's something we really care about. I think my point before we introduce the entire project is to talk about the idea of preventing harm. So we're talking about AI for good, but AI for good is great because we're building use cases, as we heard, about how we can use AI for good. But I think part of the job is to really try to prevent AI from doing harm because of the potential that AI has for doing that. And so part of our idea was to use AI as an assistant to really detect in all the justice system bias and create transparency. So we use it as a watchdog, basically. Imagine AI replaces a team of people who are there, looking for patterns in a justice system in a country and trying to understand why is this case has gone, so differently from 95% of the other cases. And so really helping that team of good people, again, I say that because if it goes in the wrong hands, then we're, same story. So really to help us provide transparency, bias detection, but also like creating reports for us and generating ideas on how we can tackle that. So I think this is part of the job. But then the other part, I'm gonna let my colleague introduce, is also how to make that create use cases for the good of improving the justice system.
Hi, I'm Kim Barres. I work for United Nations Climate Change. I'm not talking about climate change. No, I'm more in the part of the robustness of the systems. Basically, here we have two types of algorithms. Yeah, there is a first group of algorithms that they are going to work in the summarization system. But this thing of summarization is very vague. Try to summarize cases, and what you get is you will not understand any case. Then we need to put there a rack system, to split in chunks and et cetera, in order to understand paragraph by paragraph what the justice has done before. Okay? That is the first part. With that, we have a comprehensive database. We can add topics, we can add dates. From there, we can really funnel in another type of documentation that is more structured than the other one. The second part is how we classify cases. Okay, classification of cases is also an AI thing, maybe one of the oldest, and you can classify binarily or you can classify in other ways. It means basically we have two exercises. The first exercise is with LLM. The second exercise is more in, I don't know, Canadian or whatever. I don't know. I need to think about it, but more a standard machine learning system. And with that, we will cover both things, and we will basically reduce the time to resolve. That makes that people that may be in jail waiting, and they are innocent, they are guilty, they will continue to be there, but they are innocent. They don't need to pass through that bad moment. We spend much less time on that. Means, and at the same time, we will be able to identify misconducts in the justice system, but advocates in the justice system, because sometimes you get a guy that is super young and simply do what he can. Yeah. See.
Hi, my name is Laure. I'm a PhD student at Caltech. My specialty is AI, and I wanted to touch a little bit on the technical feasibility of this. One aspect is that we indeed are working with very lengthy documents, on average 200 pages, and that makes summarization or topic extraction quite challenging. Luckily, LLMs, large language models, and AI that deals with text has been evolving lately to incorporate the concept of attention. And so you could summarize paragraph by paragraph, or even like subsections of your document, paying attention to the rest of the document, because otherwise a lot of keywords are going to be shared across documents. So that's one avenue and opportunity for us to have the system work in favor of justice and shortening the processing time and having more case dealt with every year. And as my colleagues discussed, we also want to have some sort of hierarchical clusterization of those cases. So that way you can pay attention to closely related cases, as well as identify outliers that could be assigned for potentially misconduct. And this is where the watchdog comes into. And again, clusterization on large documents has been making strides in progressing a lot in the research world lately. So we see a lot of potential. One limitation could be access to the documents for training. And usually you have to go to local courthouses and actually scan those documents. So access to the training set could be still a limitation to this day, but we hope that this is going to be unlocked in the future.
Thank you guys. Well, I can't believe you guys came up with that in like 30 minutes. Such a beautiful, beautiful use case. A huge round of applause to all of you for participating in it. Microsoft facilitator to, I just pulled them in last minute. So Stephen, Kate, Martin, and Tirzah. So huge round of applause for them as well, please. So we covered today some stories, but three key takeaways. Again, going back to accelerating the progress towards SDG goals using AI. Second thing, thinking about governance and safeguards. Great example in the last use case. You got to make sure that this is not misused, and they took it to figure out use case, right? That's a great pivot. And the third is scaling. So for that, we've got a great bonus tip for you guys. If you want to start to upskill on generative AI, you can go to aka.ms/mylearningpathway. You'll get some great resources and training and learning paths for foundation around AI fluency. There are specific courses around generative AI as well. You can take a screenshot of this if you want. And then finally, productivity with generative AI as well. So, how do you go about starting to utilize all of these tools? So thank you for spending 90 minutes of your time with us. Have a great rest of the conference.